Hi, everyone. My name is Khadija Stewart, Senior Campaigner at Rise Up for the Ocean. And today we're joined by Marinez Scherer, the Special Envoy for the Ocean for COP30, where she plays a central role in ensuring that ocean issues are firmly anchored in the climate agenda leading up to Belém. Marinez has been a powerful advocate for advancing ocean and climate action and ensuring that sustainable ocean planning becomes a cornerstone for global climate solutions. We have a lot to dive into together, so let's jump straight into our conversation. So, as we know, COP30 is in Brazil, your hometown, and Brazil is hosting it in the Amazon region, a region deeply connected to both land and sea. Now, for you, I would love to hear why it's important for us to bring the ocean into the heart of these climate talks.
Well, as you said, as we all say, that's a silver oak sentence. That's the no green without the blue.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole Amazon forest or any forest or an sustainable life planet if you don't have a healthy ocean. So I think it's very critical to bring ocean to the center of discussions because it's all interconnected. And Amazon forest and the Atlantic Ocean is a very, very good example of that. So that the interconnection of the single connected systems, because the forest shapes rainfall patterns and rivers flows that influence coastal and marine environments,
Mm-hmm.
while drives climate patterns that regulates the climate and the planet. Also, if you consider that in the specific case that Amazon River that flows creates a large freshwater, plume in the ocean and creating a lot of different ecosystems. So the health of the forest is also very important for the health of the ocean, especially that part of the world and other parts too. So it is completely interconnected. It's one planet. One planet. Yeah.
No, agreed. And a lot of times, or sometimes, in general, when you think of environmental, conservation and stuff, like we can't be siloed in how we look at things occasionally, but it's about bridging the gaps and understanding the interconnectedness, like you mentioned, and how we could bring everything together to ensure that we have a healthy and a safe, not just ocean, but climate and environment in general. So from you, I would also love to hear exactly, and I know this is not an easy task, but how is Brazil preparing to make ocean a stronger part of the COP30 agenda?
Yeah, it's not as fast as to raise the raise up the rise up. Sorry, the the understanding about the importance of the ocean
Mm-hmm.
globally, and it's and in my point of view, it shouldn't be a difficult task because it is, but it shouldn't be because, as I said before, ocean is the main climate regulator in our planet. But we still have to, the whole society to understand that the sea ocean is a big ally for climate, to tackle climate crisis. Well, Brazil since 2023, there was created first the Minister of Environment became Minister of Environment and Climate Change, and within this structure, we had a Secretariat of Climate Change
Mm-hmm.
and a Department of Ocean and Coastal Management. So within this Secretariat, so ocean is connected to climate since from the beginning of this, since 2020. Since 2023. And so Brazil is doing a lot of things related to ocean since then. We started the marine special planning in the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
Some parts, I don't really divide that, but some parts are more advanced than others, but we do that for the whole country. And it is a great tool for decarbonization and just transition. Brazil has some programs, like some flagship policies like pro-mangroves and pro-corals that are policies to restore and protect these important areas. And but then when it comes that's general policies, and we brought ocean also to our national adaptation plans and
Mm-hmm.
for national biodiversity plans. And when it comes to COP itself, I think all that what we are doing contribute to the ocean breakthroughs, for instance, that we are discussing in COP. And Brazil and France, as you know, announced or launched the blue NDCs. So we are kind of like calling for all countries to put some blue in their NDCs. And we did that already. So we have marine spatial planning, and as I mentioned, these two policies, prop mangrove, but prop coral as our upstart seeds.
Yeah, and I feel like including, well, like you said, blue NDCs, right? But like having blue NDCs seems like such a natural thing to be doing because of how important the ocean is, especially for island nations and everything else. I mean, some landlocked countries, I might give them a pass because I can understand why they might prioritize some other things, But for a lot of us surrounded by the ocean or that have piece of our coast touching the ocean, I feel like blue NDCs should just come as a natural thing to be doing, But
yes, it is. And more, if I can add something to this, how Brazil is preparing, as you know, so the COP presidency, they structure the action agenda around the global stocktake, and there is specific objectives for ocean there. So we created the whole action agenda is divided in 6 pillars and 30 objectives. And one of the objectives is specific for ocean. So ocean is already there highlighted as one of the objectives. And while it's the conservation, restoration of coastal areas and ocean. So, and more than that, I was appointed as a special envoy for the ocean. So it's the first time that the COP has special envoys, general, and for the ocean. So ocean is already there, and I think that was a really nice thing to do. It's a really a good sign from the Brazilian presidency that they are considering ocean.
Yeah, I think that's a great sign. And I know that for, a few years now, there's been the Ocean Climate Dialogue and a push to try and get that more ammunition and more, higher level and more integrated into everything else happening. So it's good to see that it's slow, but the ocean is being integrated in a way that hopefully by maybe next 2-3 years, we could have a solid, framework where it's like, yes, the ocean has its place in UNFCCC, and we know exactly how to proceed and move forward.
Yeah, actually, it's good that you mentioned that because I can see the COP30 under the Brazilian presidency and my role as a way in terms of ocean to set the path for the next COPs as well, like scaling up ocean, and then kind of say, oh, guys, board, just keep talking about ocean. Bring the ocean to the discussion, and bringing ocean to the climate solutions, for instance, if you think the ocean-based climate solutions, we've had so many, and put some, indicators in the global goal of adaptation. On adaptation, we talked about that in the ocean climate dialogue. So it was a really important thing. I mean, we have the ocean climate dialogue years now, but I think it's getting stronger, it's scaling up.
Yeah.
And we had this fantastic opportunity to have UNOC in the same year as COP30. So the world started talking about ocean, and we're now being really excited about ocean. Well, before COP, so it's great.
Yeah, I mean, the tagline has been from UNOC to Belém, right? So we're really trying to connect all these high-level events and make sure that, commitments and outcomes really align with all the different conferences that happening and that holding people accountable and everything else as we move forward. So
and keep the momentum, right?
yes.
From UNOC, but I think it is. It is. You can see a lot of evidence that people talking and groups of NGOs and institutions and governments getting together to discuss. So I think it is.
Yeah, well, but maybe, I mean, it wasn't, well, maybe it was planned. I don't know. I was gonna say maybe it wasn't planned to have UNOC on COP in the same year, but it technically was planned. But it's working out in our favor, you know? So
It
yeah.
does. It does. It does work very well. And it's even just to let you guys know that in Brazil, all the COP thing and the action agenda is very, I mean, under the UNFCCC framework and stuff. So we also created a national engagement group, including academia, civil society, indigenous people, traditional communities, NGOs in general, just to have this more down to earth discussion on action initiatives. So that's it's kind of a not formal group, but we are keeping this moment within the civil society as well.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes not everything has to be formal, right? So if that's the technique that works to engage local communities on the ground, then why not?
Yeah, no, and that's the idea of this COP. It is the Mutirão concept. I know that's a difficult word, but that's a Brazilian word that means let's all work together to the common goal. So we are kind of trying to get everybody on board to COP and to discuss social media.
Yeah, I love that. And my Portuguese is not great, so I'm not even gonna try again to to pronounce
Yeah,
the word.
yeah, this sound in Portuguese a little bit tricky, but we do it. The word is nice.
Yeah, but as you talk about, making sure that everybody participates in COP, whether it be formally or informally, I know that Brazil has been kind of seen as like a bridge builder between regions. So I would love to hear from you if there are plans to collaborate with other countries in the global south to push for stronger ocean climate action at COP.
Yeah. We hope that we had all these countries from the south, north, and to talk. And Brazil, Brazil, it's a huge country with a huge coastline and a lot of things happening here. So I think, and we have this ecosystems for very tropical to subtropical, so we can kind of think here a lot for all these ocean actions. So I think we have good examples for Brazil and for other countries, global south, to show the world.
Mm. Okay. And well, I know that we kind of touched on the Blue NDC challenge before you mentioned it, and
Mhm.
the fact that it has been gaining momentum, especially since UNOC moving forward. But I would love to know what opportunities exactly do you see for advancing Blue NDCs at COP, and then what role civil society could play to push for stronger, more inclusive Blue NDCs.
Yeah, well, Blue NDCs, we are top countries, and we want to advance. It's, as you said, it's very slow. First, to recognize that importance, and also to send the NDCs as a whole, and then put
Yeah.
blue on that. Some countries didn't even have their NDCs yet. But civil society, there is a say that says that nothing will happen in the political level if the civil society doesn't want it. So we have to push. The civil society has to be there, like making noise, as I say, and have to show that it is important for the society, it is important for the world. So then we can accelerate the idea of having this Blue NDCs and bring this initiatives that are really on the ground, that they are developed by local communities, indigenous people, people that are there, live there in the ocean and coastal, of course, the coastal areas close to the ocean, and they have the initiatives that are contributing to tackle climate crisis, like protecting mangroves, having a very sustainable tourism. So it is, we can bring that and show, it is possible. It is possible to have NDCs that are true, because they are right there. So that's, I think, if we can manage at COP, formal and not formal, formally show that it is possible and it is already happening, I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, and I have a question for you because I'm just so curious in general about the fact that Brazil appointed all these different special envoys, and you are the special envoy for the ocean, and you're also a woman. So for you, I just personally would like to know, like, what has that been like your experience, and what has been like your main work or objectives on the ground as special envoy?
Okay, that's a really good question. When do we start? Because the first time that we had special envoys in a COP, so when the first time got together, all the special envoys, everybody was looking at each other and saying, "Hey, how we have to do?" So it is, well, first of all, a great honor to be appointed as a special envoy for the ocean. And also, many people in Brazil are really skilled on ocean as well. So I think my role is to connect the COP that we know is really high level discussions to the ground. Connect COP to the society. That's one of the reasons we create this engagement group related to ocean, and bring to what has been discussed in the COP presidency to the society, and also do this bridge between international NGOs, international movements with the Brazilian presidency over the ocean, of course. So I think it's kind of a bridge. It's kind of, of course, I don't know everything about COP, but, can try to find out, how do that and promote this, be in the events and advocate for ocean is one of my roles as well. Promoting events that I can be there, or someone from the team can be there to promote them, to show people how important ocean is. So I think that's kind of advocacy work, bridging work that it's my role as a special envoy.
No, but I really love it, and I really commend Brazil for doing something like this. But I mean, not just ocean, right? I'm sure there's probably a special envoy for forests or land, and yeah,
Forest, biodiversity, agriculture, industry, energy,
yeah,
women. So, and it's united. There's a lot of. We are 22 special envoys, sectoral special envoys, as I just named, and 8 special envoys that are regional ones. Like we have a special envoy for Europe, one for Oceania, one for Africa. So that's the way of Brazil connecting to globally as well. So they have this this role of bringing to the regions what we have been discussing. And also one interesting thing that all the special envoys, they are invited to be part of the action agenda and the application. So the groups that are deciding or discussing, identifying initiatives that will be showcased at action agenda in COP, and they'll be part of the acceleration plan, or things what do we have to do to accelerate these initiatives that are already there and that connect to the global stocktake, to the ocean breakthroughs and all. So being part of this group is a way as well to connect society and to the groups to the what's happening to COP and what will be showcased COP, what will be discussed in COP.
Yeah, I think being able to connect to society or the people on the ground in general, internationally, regionally, nationally, everything else is so important because COP, and not even just COP, right? But COP, the SBs, all these different things are such high level technical spaces that because of that, so many different players are often either left out of the conversation or they're in the room and they're lost, right? So the fact that you guys kind of act as not just as a bridge, but as translators in a sense
Yeah.
of the technical language into layman's terms and layman's terms back into that technical language, then I think that that's such an important role to be playing overall.
As you can imagine, that's not easy because all this technical and formal, high level stations, they are very complex,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm an ocean person, so I got to learn a lot. I got to learn how this, is structure. But yeah, when we have some news, we just say, "Oh, let's talk to people. What's going on here? Let's talk about why we are understanding and how we can do something." We are even planning a workshop in October during pre-COP.
Mm-hmm.
So after actually when they have to bringing these initiatives from Brazilian society and international ones, the ones that are not in this framework, but they're really important to be, actually recognized by them. So yeah, so we are planning to do that in October. So
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, so now, I mean, there's PrepCom, BBNJ, September, there's UNGA, UN General Assembly in New York Climate Week, October, there's pre-COP, November, there's COP, and then December, we all go on break and we enjoy Christmas. I feel it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I was saying that, well, back home I said, okay, I will disappear, right?
Yeah.
Because, and I'm a professor at university, so I told my colleagues, and I had a special license that said I will disappear for 3 months, right? Yeah, it's a lot of things, and it's still, we didn't mention, but it's still the ISN World Congress conference that they will talk about ocean there too. That's in the Abu Dhabi, yes, in October as well. So October, September, October, and November will be busy, but so at the same time so exciting, so nice to see all this movement, and people getting together.
Yeah.
A world movement that's so it keeps you a little bit more in our heart. Yes.
That's all I know about the vitamins. Make sure we all taking our vitamins and everything else. But I also know that you've been engaging, you mentioned different stakeholders, different civil society members, indigenous people, coastal communities, but I also know that you've been engaging with young people in Brazil. And I know that, young people are often among the most impacted by climate change, but they're not always genuinely included in decision-making processes. So with so many youths, especially those from Brazil now, leading local and community-driven ocean solutions, what concrete steps can they take to make sure that their efforts are meaningful and that they could influence international negotiations, as well as move from tokenism?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a nice question, and then I just tell you a short story. I was for 2 years the MSD coordinator in Brazil in the change, and I was talking to people at the conference, and a young lady, she asked me, how would we include young people in the process of MSD? And I have to tell you, about the first time, these 2 years, and the only time that I didn't have an answer, a really clear answer. And since then, I was like, okay, it was a really, really important question for me. At that point, I was this head of decision maker to hear, and so I'm in contact with Sustainable Ocean Alliance and the hub in Brazil and international as well from the young. They just had a meeting actually 2 days ago. and I had the opportunity to go there, say some words to them. So they are preparing, they are getting together as well in this Mutirão movement, and they are preparing a document with priorities for the younger uh, related to climate change. And so I will make sure that this document is included in some documents that we want to produce as a special envoy for COP, just to handle to the next COP, just to handle to the COP presidency, like, oh, here is what people are discussing outside as well to this very structured framework. So, yeah, so I think that would be a really nice thing that what they're doing is their work, but to be able to, to advocate for these priorities that they show, to try to somehow put them in the action agenda as well. So, yeah, I'm really happy. I told them I'm really happy you're doing this. You are so engaged. They are so engaged in this concept. So
Yeah. So I also know from like previous experience, things like accreditation sometimes could be a real challenge in actually getting into the room, right? So if it is they're not able to secure that accreditation or something else, that, the fact that they would still have this policy paper put out and then placed in front of the right people is so important, because sometimes even at events, it's very easy to have a policy statement, maybe have one or two panels where you get to discuss, what your key asks are, your priority areas. But then if it's not landing in front of the right people, then it's kind of floating in air
lost,
and almost
lost.
wishful thinking, right? Yeah. So if it is, you're able
Yeah,
to be that bridge, like you mentioned earlier, then I think that's a very important role.
I will do my best. Yes, yes. Yeah, and when it comes to accreditation, like it just came something in my mind. So I'm not sure of how to be the accreditation. So that's not something that COP presidency really has much to
No,
say. That
that
you are saying. But normally you have organizations from civil society that are registered, that they can send people. So what if we make a movement that every organization send at least one people?
that would be incredible. Maybe that's one of Rise Up Ask, as we start building our campaign towards COP30. Yeah. Make sure that you have at least one young person on your delegation. And then if it is they are not attending COP for whatever reason, then maybe make sure that you give your space or your badges to local NGOs on the ground who would have so they could have the opportunity to attend. Because imagine an organization has 5 badges and then one person go, 4 people don't decide to go. Those are 4 empty slots that could have been,
Yeah,
used
yeah.
for.
I'm not sure if it'll be the same this time, like 5 people per organization. So let's find out.
We'll see. We'll wait. Anything is possible. Anything is possible with the UN. But
Exactly. So let's see what will happen. So yeah, that's something that's my, list of to-do list, is to find out how it will be the accreditation, and you, the young people, and also women. I want to be sure.
yes.
Actually, I've been in contact with the Special Envoy for Women, that happens to be our first lady.
Mhm.
Okay. We call her so we are thinking of, let's see if it will manage to happen, but we are thinking on having a discussion on women and coastal areas and ocean just before COP as well, to have some, bullet points of the importance of this connection and recognition of how women work to live as far as the animals as well. So as you know, they are
Yeah.
as well. So young people, women, we need to get them on board with the herd and this COP.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm going to stray a little bit just for 2 seconds, but then we'll get back on track. But just as you mentioned the point on women and, the fact that that was also an important special envoy to create. I mean, previous years, every time you've seen the COP photos, it's always maybe like 90% men. And there's always the same argument, like, what's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture? And everybody calls it out, but there's no presidency that's taking the initiative to help kind of shift or change that meaningfully. But I think by having a special envoy just dedicated to women is already a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our CEO is Anatoly. That's the COP executive director is a woman as well. So he's already in this, flavor.
Yeah. Let's hope we get more women on official delegations in the negotiating room. Like that would be that would be great.
And that's both. I think, yeah, it's another thing that's slow, but it's true. It's true.
Yeah. Everything takes so much time, but it's okay. It's okay.
So
As you say, yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So we just have to keep chugging along. But before we wrap up, I would just love to hear from you. What would a successful ocean outcome at COP30 look like to you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And, a little bit what we just discussed here. So we are right there. So we are in the action agenda. But a successful ocean COP is really lead this COP with the sensation, of course, in the official document, had ocean there. Ocean, global goal indicators, to have ocean in the official document as an important climate regulator and have ocean-based solutions on that, to have more countries presenting their NDCs and having some blue on it, you know. So I think that's what I just said is quite achievable. It's achievable. It's just doesn't depend, of course, not just Brazil or me, but I think it is. I think ocean is already there. It's already successful. People are talking. We are talking here.
That's true.
We are talking here. We have been discussing. So I think we woke up the dragon. So and it's so fantastic to see that. So it is already successful. Very in terms of ocean and in terms of climate discussion. So yeah, but we have made our best to have ocean discussed at the high level possible.
Yeah, and I know sometimes when there's different groups pushing different agendas. So like we are talking about ocean, there's people who push for biodiversity, there's people who push on water resources, agriculture, whatever it is they're working on. And sometimes it always comes up, well, what about the issue of climate injustice and all these different things? Now, we are not, as yes, this conversation was heavily ocean focused. And we are not trying to take away from the issue of climate justice or anything like that. But what we're trying to do more than anything else is bridge those gaps and make sure that we really touch on the interconnectedness of not just the ocean, not just the environment, but people as well. And I feel like it's important that people recognize that because sometimes it's like, oh, they just want to talk about the ocean or they just want to talk about this. And I'm like, no, it's deeper than that. But
yeah, well, but we cannot talk about ocean without talking and recognizing people that depend on it. So we are fully interconnected. So I think ocean is one of the agendas that's really more than, of course, very important, the conservation per se, but it's an agenda that really recognizes people. And we have to really push that because it's, ocean affects in a positive way. And if we don't take care of it, it can be affect people's livelihood. So it is completely interconnected. And as you said before, we are sometimes we speak or talk in silence, but we can't see climate or the world as separate process.
Yeah.
And also, that's one thing that the COP presidency is saying also, like, just let's go back to the climate discussion with biodiversity discussion. For instance, there is no two different discussions on here.
Mm-hmm.
Biodiversity, ocean, forests, it's not disconnected, it's completely connected. Should be, of course, in terms of pragmatic, we have to, have some boxes to discuss it, but even in the action agenda, the forest, biodiversity, and ocean are the same pillar.
Mm-hmm.
So they will be connecting that, and we will. I'm sure that forest is completely connected to biodiversity as well, ocean as well. So I think we have a strong pillar on, nature conservation
Yeah.
in our.
Okay. And I know that you are very busy and probably have to run very shortly, but real quick, just what would be your message to the global ocean movement in general?
Yeah, keep moving. Keep moving and make noise. Like, noise like the ocean does. Yeah, I think we as an ocean community, we have to keep pushing our leaders to understand, and the society, and the whole
Mm-hmm.
society, the importance of ocean, because sometimes people on the streets don't understand it. So I think ocean literacy is very, very, very important. It cannot be disconnected to this whole conversation as well. As I said before, the society doesn't understand that as a problem, it will not be a problem for politicians. So
Yeah.
let's make that not a problem, but a solution. Let's show people how important ocean is for our lives, for the solution.
All right. Let's make noise. But as a
Guys,
as a Caribbean island girl, like I 100% could relate to the fact of people not being connected to the ocean or not like really understanding different things. I mean, that's not my reality, but when I talk to people on the ground, they're like,
yeah,
there's so much that they don't know. And this is something that we are surrounded by. So it's like, we need ocean and climate literacy, we need ocean and climate action, and then we need noise. Like,
yeah. It starts with your family. Try to explain to your family the importance of ocean. You'll be surprised.
Yeah. All right, Marinez. Well, any closing thoughts, anything that you need to get off your chest that we didn't touch on that you feel the people must know? Or
Well, I think it's no, I think we touched everything, but it is again, ocean is so important, and I'm very surprised that it's still not in the core of the climate discussions. So I think this movement will be able to start doing that for the future. And so, it is a full of
mm-hmm.
CSA. I think come COP, and you can come COP, recognize in your own arena, in your own country, local community, and be part of that. Not because we're not going to COP, for instance, or to high level, that we are not part of it. We are all part of this movement, and then if you keep doing that, you'll be heard.
Yeah, that's very true. All right. Well, thank you so much for giving us the time, your insights, your knowledge, and everything else. I think we had a great conversation. I low-key want to keep talking to you, but I know that you have a very important role of being an advocate, bridging the gap, being sharing knowledge, all these different things too. So
And thank you very much for your support. It's very, very important. All the support that I receive, that's what I want to say. I want to thank you and all movements that are supporting me. It's so amazing how many people came to me and said, Marinez, we are with you. what can we do? And it's
Yeah.
so sad. So that's everyone can see that we are moving the right direction.
Yeah, I think so. And
Right.
you also made yourself accessible, which is incredible because I mean people could reach out to you, but you respond and you show up. And yeah, so
My task now. Yeah, but yeah, it's nice to be. I mean, I gave this role as was given to me, so let's do the best of it here.
yeah, all right. Well, like we say from UNOC to Belém, so let's see what happens at COP30. So thanks again.
Thank you very much for your time.